Hey guys, Jamgear here. Today I'll be reacting to something new and something that caught my interest. Why Jamaica is obsessed with a World War II booth. And on the screen here I'm seeing a desert clocks. Now, as a Jamaican myself, I know that for the most part in the past recent years, the main reason for clocks has been Vybz Kartel, even though it's existed before that. But there was something here in the beginning of it. If you've seen the thumbnail for this video, link will be in the description below. They said this thing was smuggled in caskets, so I'm not 100% sure what it is. So I'm actually very interested to see where Iron Snail actually takes this video. So without further ado, let's get into it.
These are Clark's desert boots. Boots that men smuggled into Jamaica via coffins. But they are also pretty blatant copies of the boot of Africa. This is the veldtschoen, or the felly. I hope I'm saying that correct. Yes, it does look like the veldtschoen, or the felly, but it has its own design language. You can see that when you're looking at this boot. And if you like that design language and you find the boot striking, you know who you should thank? The Quaker religion, because Clark's has a very deep history with the Quaker religion, and this is a Quaker boot if I ever did see one. And now, Jamaica, look at this concert, absolutely packed. See that man performing right there? That is Vybz Kartel, and he is performing his hit song, Clark's.
What did I just say? What did I just say? I know that he's part of it, but I guess I wonder if he's gonna say something different or new than what I know, because that whole casket thing is new to me. Alright, let's go.
Obviously, I couldn't afford the licensing fee, so I was gonna put the song in the video, then I scrapped it. I told Holly, which was a mistake, and now she's insisting that the video would be better if there was a little tiny bit of the song in. So we have this much to play with.
What? All you go again, there's a hard shoes brush to get out, it does fast. Everybody asks when I get my clocks. Everybody asks when I get my clocks. That's as far as I'm gonna go, because Cartel now make no millions off of me. You want to make enough off of my tour, so that's all me that go give with that.
With Holly will use it at her will. That song is completely about Clark's. Clark's in the summer, Clark's in the winter. The leather hard, the suede is soft, toothbrush helps get the dust off. It's a great song. And you're probably thinking what I originally thought. That's not a big deal. We have songs about footwear in the US too. Air Force Ones with Nelly, apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur, with the 3 6 Mafia? Flow Rider. Wow, 3 6 Mafia is probably looking to kill me now. You're probably thinking, yeah, no big deal. You're totally wrong, because there is not one song about Clark's in Jamaica. There are hundreds of songs. Vybz Kartel's Now is the most famous because it's an absolute banger, but it's one of hundreds. Clark's makes videos about the relationship with Jamaica. They invest in Jamaican infrastructure. They make custom Jamaican marketed dance.
Now, let's get something very clear and very straight. No, because from the moment Vybz Kartel made clocks all the way down to when he got into prison, the brand was nowhere to be seen in sight. It's been years, I think it's only a few years ago, we see them start embrace the culture and put out the Jamaican version style and with the colors. Outside of that, we never see nothing with clocks that try link up with Kartel or anybody else during that whole time period. And Kartel spent a form of 14 years in prison, and yeah, add that 14 years plus what you when you went there out before that, and now the matter about they've been in infrastructure and everything. No, that's a lie.
Hall Clark's. In fact, there is an entire book on Clark's in Jamaica. I think it's called Clark's in Jamaica. This is also the footwear worn by the original rude boys of Jamaica. The rude boy culture started walking in these boots. What I'm trying to say is there is nothing like the relationship between Jamaica and Clark's. I thought maybe blue jeans in the USA, kinda, but not like this. Nothing is like this. You'll probably name something that I never thought of, but still, from what I can tell, there's nothing like this. To really understand the craze, we need to understand the footwear. And we can't understand the footwear if we don't talk about Africa. Nathan Clark basically took an African hunting boot, and then Jamaica made it into the greatest dance boot of all time. This is a Feldschkuhn, or a Felly. I'm gonna say Felly because I'm probably not saying Feldschkuhn correctly, but that translates directly to, or it's slang for field shoe. Now the Felly was a massive, massive relief for British soldiers. I think specifically it was for British officers. Humongous relief when they tossed these bad boys on their feet. Why? They were in places like Africa and Myanmar, and it was insanely hot. It was like 97,000 degrees outside, and they're wearing these giant British ammo boots. Boom, here's some footwear designed specifically for the desert, for very, very hot places. Eureka, all of a sudden, way more comfortable. Nathan Clark sees that and is like, oh, okie dokie. So we know that the Felly is a near perfect boot, but what makes it near perfect? What is so special about this that no other boot was doing at the time? The hint? Simplicity. Also this bug. Also, since we have this really nice mushroom stand, we're talking about an upgraded Clarks later, just to show, I think this is what Clarks used to be like. I think this is why people get upset with modern day Clarks.
I'm interested to learn.
First thing we'll do is go over an authentic Felly, and then we'll see what Nathan Clark did to his version of the Felly and how it changed things forever. Suede? Are you crazy using nice suede on a South African bush? Not suede. Well, suede, duh. Suede has a little bit of a bad reputation because there's, you know, some people say suede is when the shiny side of the leather is on the inside and the rough part is on the outside. Other people, when they say suede, they mean they split the leather in half and only the rough side on this side is left and the rough side on that side is left. It's very confusing and it's hard to actually nail down what a brand is talking about unless they specifically say what it is, but now brands say rough out to indicate that it's basically the full piece of leather flipped. And rough out or reverse leather, whatever you want to call it, incredibly tough, incredibly scratch resistant. If you're going through the African bush, you want something that can handle briars or really, really tough stuff and look new and hold up to it. And then we have stitch down construction. Very, very simple construction. This upper leather flanges out over the outsole right here, as you can see, and then it's just stitched down. It's stitched to this little black line. The midsole, the outsole is here. Bing, bang, boom. Very simple. Simplicity is great. We all know that. People always say to me, Michael, you're a very simple, simple man. Stitch down construction is also very resistant to the elements, which is a huge plus, and it's cheap to do because you're not adding a whole bunch of other parts on the inside. Flange it out, sew it down, done. Then we have my favorite part of Clark's desert boots and its homages, crepe. But you'll notice it's strikingly not there on the Jim Green Fellies, and if you've ever worn crepe, you know why. It's not on the actual working Felly that's made for the bush and stuff like that. I really, really love crepe rubber. I just find it so beautiful and natural because that's exactly what it is. It's about as natural of a rubber as you can possibly get. You essentially get the rubber from the rubber tree, or I guess the latex from a rubber tree. You coagulate it with acid into these big, gross looking ball things, and then you roll it really skinny. That's it. That's crepe. If you look closely, see how this isn't one piece of rubber, there's a little split right here? It's two sheets of crepe stacked on top of each other. Crepe is really soft and beautiful, but it's not good near chemicals, it's not good in really, really harsh temperature variations, it's not as tough in general, and you will fall on your butt eventually if you are wearing crepe. So be careful out there, enjoy your beautiful crepe, but just know that it was not originally meant for asphalt and slick concrete surfaces and floors and stuff like that. It was meant for the great outdoors. And then we get
So if Clarks meant, well, the original one was meant for outdoors, what difference did it make for Clarks? And also, is Clarks meant for more concrete guns now, or what? This is something that I'm very interested to know right now.
Get to the midsole, this little light line right here, and the insole, the inside of the boot, which this is where it gets a little controversial with Clarks. Before we get to the comment section where all of you are gonna say, sucks that the quality's not like it used to be, let's get quakey. When I started this video, so I was like, oh, I know where I can start. Quaker Oats, because that's obviously a Quaker company. Nope, turns out that's not true. That's a lie. Blew my mind. Is that legal? I'm surprised the Quakers haven't been litigious about this. That being said, the man who named his company Quaker Oats named it Quaker Oats because the Quakers had such a good reputation, so by looking up Quaker Oats, it actually does tell us about Clark's Quaker roots. And I quote, according to some accounts, Quaker mill partner Henry Seymour came up with the brand name after discovering an encyclopedia article about Quakers. He stated that the qualities describing Quakers, such as integrity, honesty, and purity, were traits that he wanted customers to associate with the company's product. Quakers are often seen as embodying a blend of seriousness and generosity, simplicity, and social engagement. Boom! Clarks. Clarks has really strong Quaker roots. It's still on their website. They still do a lot of Quaker principle things, like they really support the communities. They also are a community-founded company. None of that's really important besides the simplicity factor of Clarks. And that is how we get to the design. The Felly caught Nathan's eye because it's so simple and so effective. It's about as simple of a shoe as you could possibly make, but you could still make it simpler. Bring in the desert boot. All we're doing here is saying, how can we keep the functionality of the Felly, but take away what we don't need? So instead of 3 eyelets, how about we do 2? Instead of folding things or adding reinforcements or anything like that, let's make it 1 piece of leather right here and another piece of leather right here. Keep everything very, very simple as you possibly can, and use high quality materials. That is it. And what that does is make a really high quality but simple boot, and it's so simple that it becomes striking. You see that it's simple. There's something special about that.
So it's basically that old tale of no one right now is making anything new. No, there's rarely any new products. It's always some flip reverse, some workaround to something that already exists. So everybody, for example, you have a printed t-shirt with a design on the front. Everybody has that, especially now with like Redbubble and all these other sites. You can create the design and print it, so everybody have that revolutionized. Liquor still coming out, and apparently them all supposed to taste different. I find that strange. No, everybody that come up with them own is like, how much rum and liquor can there be in the world to be that much different? Oh, well, give something what it end up taste like this, but it's a different branding, and that's 1 and 2 switch up. So it's like, yeah, nothing new is being created. Products are remaining the exact same as they were. People just are remixing. It's rare to get something up from scratch being built out. So it is interesting to see that's what's going on. That's what went on here with Clarks. I mean, actually, me used to think that Clarks was original, like original, built up from the ground, but I guess not. Oh well.
All right, so a lot of you suspect foul play when it comes to modern day Clark's quality. I can see why you would think that. Look at this. It was very hard to do, but I found a pretty authenticated 1980s Clark desert boot. The only problem with our comparison is that this is a Goodyear welted boot, so it's constructed differently, but I think they would use very similar components, so it should be okay. Leather quality on modern day Clarks, still pretty good. Feels good, nice and thick, I like it a lot. But old Clarks, 1/2 millimeter thicker. And then we have crepe, one of the most fascinating findings. On this boot, using a durometer, we found that it was 40 to 45 Shore A in hardness. But on these fancy boots that are $10 more that come with this little tab thing, this crepe is 30 Shore A. It is like goo. It is so very soft. Then, and we have to account that maybe this got harder over time, but this crepe is 50 Shore A, which is much, much harder. It's still soft, it still feels gummy, but significantly harder, so it should be more durable over time on the old boot. And this little lighter line right here, that is the midsole of the boot. Not that thick, and this is fiberboard, so it's not just straight leather, it's like all crumbled up, glued together leather. Look at this, kind of hard to see because it's Goodyear welted, so we have the welt leather here that kind of distracts from it, but I'll put my finger, look what's under my finger. It's kind of tough to see, but it looks like 2 layers of fully stacked leather midsole. So it's much thicker, much stiffer. The insole here appears to be thick natural leather, the insole here does not. It's a little thinner, and I think it has a little cushioning on the bottom, but definitely thinner. This is not the best sample size. We have one boot that doesn't use the exact same construction, so there could be variables, but looking at this pair on eBay that the guy's trying to sell for like $8,000, the leather looks thicker and the midsole also looks thicker, Vintage Ads looks thicker. Anyways, all of that contributes theoretically to why people say modern day Clarks feel different. They don't necessarily say they break down faster, but they feel different.
Well, I think it's safe to say this goes with everything, because every single product that is long lasting nowadays, they're not what they used to be. There are a few products, clothing, food, that used to were better in the past because something has changed in the manufacturing of them. Clothes colors used to last longer, now them fade out. Food used to taste better, now them change up, whether because of health reasons or difference in what them use make it. Things used to be bigger, now them shrink down everything to size. I don't know. It is a manufacturing thing. All of them have gone through it. It's something strange. I don't know what the big deal is. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment below. I wish to know what it could be for all these different industries, or any ideas, because it is a very curious thing.
And that would be because the insole is not as thick, the midsole is not as thick, the leather is not as thick, and the crepe is softer. But Remember the midsole I was talking about? This Clark's old one, about 2 times thicker? Guess what? The Astroflex midsole is about 2 times thicker than modern Clark's. The leather thickness is about the same. The crepe hardness is about the same. The insole thickness I couldn't measure, but I'm assuming it's about the same. It also has a little bit of foam. So, it accurately, if you want to get as accurate as I suppose you could probably get, Astroflex Chukkas are closer to original Clark's desert boots. After all that being said though, I still really do love Clark's desert boots. They're just iconic. I like mine a lot. I'm gonna wear them to the ground. So if you want them, I suggest you get them. I think they are cool.
Here we go.
Whew, okay, now the grand finale where we put absolutely everything together and find out why they are popping off in Jamaica and why they have been since the 60s. Keyword, Rude Boy. When the Desert Boot touched down in the US, it was basically an instant success because we're just off the back of World War II. The young folks are like, hey, t-shirts and jeans and stuff like that, way cooler than dress pants, we're rebelling. So Clark's Desert Boots, they were this perfect, that's not a dress shoe, it's way more comfortable, it's casual, it looks cool, beat up, I can wear it when I'm on my motorcycle, it's really just awesome. It fits into this thing perfectly. It's kind of like a precursor to the sneaker. All of a sudden, dress shoes, no comfy. I don't want them anymore. Clark's. Jamaica, obviously, that was there, but that's not the big thing. The big thing that happened was in 1962 when Jamaica became independent from the UK, became their own thing. At the time, in 1962, people pretty pumped about this. They were like, oh, the equality gap's gonna go down, everything's gonna get more fruitful and perfect, it's just gonna, we're gonna all blossom. And that didn't necessarily happen. There was overcrowding, high unemployment, a lot of restlessness in general, and a lot of people were like, you know what, screw this system. And those people, young men, those young men, kind of rude to the system, the general system at B. They were rude boys. Nowadays, the term rude boy is pretty iconic. It's in a Rihanna song, it's probably in Drake's song, it's in, what's that song I really like? That, oh man. Rude Boy, one of the most iconic cultural things of all time. Everybody knows about the Rude Boy. This was the birth of the Rude Boy, this civil unrest. And the Rude Boy of the 60s and 70s had a very particular way of dressing. It was showing pride, respect to themselves, and like, yes, I can dress amazingly, even though I was not dealt the best hand. So, picture this, it's 1965, you're a Rude Boy, you're going to look for a pair of footwear. You want to be different. You don't want a classic dress shoe or something like that. You want it to stand out right away. You see this. Strikingly simple design, definitely not a dress shoe. Has something different going on, and it's expensive and made in England. Check, 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 check. At a practical level though, you could probably say rough out, but this is full grain suede. It's very, very tough. It's resistant to abrasion and scratches, AKA, it looks new for a very, very long time. And at the same time, you're a young man rebelling against the system, running around Jamaica all day, AKA, you're on your feet all the time. So when you squish this bottom, wow, certainly doesn't feel like leather. I bet that's gonna be mega comfortable. The music scene also exists, and obviously these young men are the people that are also making music. So what do they say in their songs? Hey, put your Clarks in the air while you're dancing and wave them like you just don't care. There's a bunch of young men running around going to dances trying to meet women, and women are like, what are those? Those are cool. And then the guy next to him is like, she likes those shoes. If I get them, she'll like me. Bing, bang, boom. They start to grow a lot in the culture. But there is one thing that strikes the match and explodes the culture into society. The police. The police are the answer. There's all these young dudes running around in beautiful suits and very fancy footwear, and the police are like, okay, how on earth did you get all that nice stuff? You must be bad. Boom! Standing out. Society. That's a bad boy. Look at that guy. That's a rebel. Keyword, rebel. Clark's original.
So you're basically telling me that it was, and kind of is still the bad man's suit of today. I mean, police now stop people nowadays for Clarks, if you have one of Clarks. Shorts, bleach your skin, and a Mark X will more do the trick. But it's really fitting. So this was this was the chopping, the scamming of back in the day, the attire. So police would have catch you with it and that problem. Yeah, interesting to note.
Originally was a proper dress shoe, fancy, nice company. All of a sudden, they come out with a war boot and they advertise it as, hey, some dude fought in war, found this boot, and took it home. Yeah, that's rebellion. I'm a fighter. These also look sick. I love them. I'm gonna wear them all the time. You're looking at the symbol of rebellion in Jamaica via footwear. Kind of similar to what the US was doing with blue jeans. They got banned from schools and stuff, only made them more popular. Bing, bang, boom. And then as those rude boys are getting older, they're starting families, they're having kids, I want my kids to wear Clarks to school. I want to show that I can afford the Clarks, they're comfortable, they're long-lasting, they're durable. I love them. And that is why Jamaica is obsessed with Clarks.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. At all. because my dad has some still for years. Still have some of them because I'm probably not wear them, but them still look weird. But compared to now, I think in my lifetime I've only had one that started to lift.
These are Clark's desert boots. Boots that men smuggled into Jamaica.
Yeah, I had one that started to lift, and that's kind of the extent of it. They last long, and if you care for them like anything else, they will look good and last long. So, I kind of wish he kind of delved more into the whole casket thing, because that's the only thing here that I'm like, I am not sure what this is, because I've never heard of the fact that these things were smuggled in caskets. What? I don't know what the history of that is. So that's kind of like the only thing I wish that I got more of. But this was a good video, the introduction into it. Especially seeing so I didn't even know that that this was based off another shoes. I thought it was his own original thing. Yeah, but there, guys, that has been the video. This has been why Jamaica is obsessed with World War II boot, aka the Clarks. If you enjoyed my reaction of this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you like what you saw from Iron Snail as well, go to his channel, leave a like, and subscribe to his channel as well. This has been Jamgear. I will see you all next time. Peace.